Hi, it's me, the autistic Gen X software developer with anxiety and depression. But some call me Tim. And today I would love to talk about online news. I'm not going to talk about politics or religion or anything. That doesn't matter. These days, it seems that people get their news from the internet. They go to Fox News, they go to MSNBC. There's a whole spectrum of complete left-wing nut jobs all the way to complete right-wing nut jobs. And then in the middle is the unbiased news. But it used to be, right? And I've said this before, but 70s, 80s, that we got our news from the television from a white guy in a suit behind a desk. And what they said was true, period. But now those same shows on both sides have white guys in suits behind a desk telling complete lies. And where that used to not even be allowed, you used to not be able to lie, or they would shut you down. You would have to print a retraction or film a retraction. Say, I'm sorry, we got this wrong. Go get. Nobody gives a shit about that anymore. The news is entertainment. Unless you're in the middle, and what I do is I try to, when I look at news, I figure if something really bad is happening, I'll know about it. It'll pop up everywhere. And I don't look at the fringe news on either side. I look at like the Associated Press, and I look at BBC, and I look at non-American news to find out what's actually going on in my country. Because we can't look at the news here because it's all bullshit. And that's the problem. That people today still seem to think, a lot of the older people, that you get your news from a white guy in a suit behind a desk. And that's just not the case anymore. Nobody watches television. Nobody turns on the nightly news, right? We have all these streaming services. We're on our phone. We're looking at TikToks and YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Reddit. X, Blue Sky. There's just so much social media everywhere. And a lot of people either can't or won't check and see if what they're watching is true. Right? They're lazy, or they just don't have the tools, the logical and critical thinking tools necessary to see something and go, now wait a minute, that seems odd, or is that true? And go look it up. If you do that, you're going to find that, hey, maybe that story was in one obscure website you've never heard of. Then it's not true. If you only hear about this from your friends and you can't find anything on a reputable news site like the Associated Press or BBC, go look at BBC. See, is it on there? No, it's not true. If it was true and it was that big of a deal, it would be everywhere. But no. And part of the problem is the American education system is getting worse and worse every year. I know some teachers, and the kids just get dumber and dumber every year. It's so much so, like in a previous video where I was talking about how video game developers, the dumbest, rise, and they fire all the smart people to protect themselves. It's kind of happened with parents. Like, parents raised their children to be dumber, and then they got to be parents, and now their children are dumber, and their parents, and now their children are even dumber. And it's just like this progressively dumbing down of the world, like the movie Idiocracy. People do not have the mental ability to look at something and decide, is that true? They don't have the courage to question themselves, to say, here's the thing I've believed my whole life, but hold on. Is that actually true? Because I'm seeing stuff that it contradicts that. I am able to do that. I can look at the news and determine if something is true or not. Mostly by just not looking at those fringe sites and ignoring everything that comes up. If anybody on the left or the right uses language like lunatics, morons, idiots, I just ignore it. They're just trying to get views, get clicks, get likes. They're sensationalizing nothing. And that's bad, because when something that actually needs attention happens, people are like, it's the same shit. And we can't tell, is it true or not? And I hear it a lot from people that they have a belief, and then if the news contradicts what they believe, they say, it's just AI. That's not real. That's fake news. I don't know what to do about that. I feel like there's some way that smart people could help the dumb people. On one hand, the other hand, unless I think you can't lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And these days, if you give them a salt lick, they'll tell you that causes cancer and they'll kick it away, and they still won't drink. I think I'm trying to help you. Nope. I don't think you're helping. I don't know. But it really bothers me that these things are happening and people cannot tell the difference between fact or fiction. As far as social media goes, I'm not on social media. You can't find me. If you look at my channel, I don't have any links to anything. I don't have a Facebook or an Instagram. I don't have a Twitter. I don't have a TikTok. I don't have a Blue Sky. I don't have them. They're gone. Now, I've kept Facebook because some family members are on there and they may want to contact me. I don't ever log into it. Maybe once every 6 months, I'll log in and go, it's still garbage, and shut it down. I used to do all that stuff, and I don't now. And yes, it's hurting my channel. I'm trying to grow my channel, and nobody's subscribing. Why? Because I'm not on social media plugging it. I'm not throwing it out to everybody. I'm just relying on you guys. I need you to please share this. Share it on the social media networks. If you're still crazy enough to have those, please do it. Share every video. I'm not going to do it. I don't have the ability to look at the news and then just let it go. I'm autistic. It bothers me. I have to tell people when they're wrong on the internet. I get very fired up and angry. I made a post probably the first time things went crazy, and I told everybody on Facebook, hey, if you believe what I don't believe, unfriend me. And boy, did I lose a lot of people. And that made me realize that people are stupid. Or I'm stupid. I mean, one of us is dumb. One of us is incorrect here with what we're thinking, and I don't think it's me, just like they don't think it's them. But by deleting all that stuff, getting rid of all that social media, I can see things more clearly than ever before. So while I don't advocate deleting your accounts, I do think you could stop logging into them for 6 months. If everybody stopped logging into all the social media for 6 months, I think this shit would just collapse. And they'd have to go back to actually news and things because there's no way to get your stuff. Is it going to happen? Of course not. We're dopamine junkies. We love to doom scroll. And I could sit in my bed and scroll through TikTok and Reddit and YouTube and Instagram for hours just like everybody else. I force myself not to. So yeah, if you're autistic, if you're just wondering, it's possible. You can do it. Cut the cord. You're really not missing anything. You don't need to know what your aunt's second cousin's favorite recipe for peanut butter bars are, sandwiched between a bunch of political propaganda that's bullshit. So there's my rant on social media. I'm sure there'll be another one. Don't forget to comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Send me a message if you want to send me money. I'll take it. And until next time, peace.